Welcome to the 2017 Ford Raptor. Now, the Raptor's been on a bit of a hiatus for the past year, but it is back with a vengeance, baby, and we're talking about big numbers all the way around. I got big wheel travel, big shocks, big horsepower, big torque, but there's one thing that's smaller, and that's the engine. So the big story on the 2017 Ford Raptor is it's got a V6, baby. That's right. Everyone is really upset about the loss of the V8, but here's the thing. If you didn't know that this was a V6, you wouldn't know that it's not a V8. It's a 3.5 liter and it's an EcoBoost, so it's a turbo, but it's knocking out 450 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. And believe me, that is plenty. That's more power than the outgoing model. And thanks to the aluminum body, it weighs 500 pounds less. So you've got a much better power to weight ratio, and it really shows. Now, all that power is mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. Yes, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 speeds. It's quite a lot, but that really does help this truck to drive really smoothly. You barely even notice when it's shifting. Now, I've also got a couple of different drive modes. We've got a normal mode, which is great for on the pavement. It really keeps the RPM low. It's kind of like an eco mode. Sport really boosts it up. You can really tell in the throttle pickup. It's much, much faster, much more fun to drive. You've got a weather mode for maybe some snow and some rain, but the best are all off-road, right? I'm in a current rock crawl mode, so that's gonna shift the transfer case into 4 low, gives me a crawl ratio of 50-1. Now, so far right now, this isn't too hard. I'm going pretty slow, but I think soon it's gonna get a lot harder. Now, when it comes to high speed, then you're gonna want Baja mode. That's gonna change all of your parameters, your shift points, your steering, your transmission, your engine reaction, everything is gonna change. And one of the cool things about this transfer case is you've got 4 different ways of driving this. 2 high, where all the power is just going to the rear wheels, then 4 high and 4 low, like you would expect, but it's also got an all-wheel drive function. I mean, 4-wheel drive is great in the dirt and it's great in the snow, but not really so good on the ice or in the rain. So having an all-wheel drive function is really going to help you drive this truck in all forms of weather. Now, when it comes to suspension, well, it's bigger than last year's. So awesome. I've got 3-inch Fox internal bypass shocks with 13 inches of travel in the front and 13.9 inches of travel in the rear. I know, it's crazy. That really allows you to just fly over stuff that you can't fly over in a normal pickup truck. I mean, I was able to go 50 miles an hour over a whole set of whoops. I mean, you have to commit, but the truck can take it. I mean, there really isn't another truck on the market that can do that. Now, you may have noticed that this truck is really big. It's 81 inches wide across the front, and that's so wide that legally you need to have running lights. You get 2 different configurations, the Super Cab, which is what we've got with like the half door in the back, or the full crew cab, but you can only get it in a small box, which is 5.5 feet. Right now, our wheelbase is about 134 inches. So this truck, not only is it really wide, it's also really long. And that means you're gonna have to make some concessions when you're driving off-road, right? You're not gonna be able to really take it into any kind of a box canyon. It's gonna be difficult, any kind of sharp turns. And sometimes driving through the dunes, well, you're gonna have to have a lot of great throttle control so you don't high center yourself up at the top. In addition to the bigger shocks, of course, you've got a lot of other off-road goodies, right? You've got a locking rear differential, skid plates all around, 5mm aluminum. They're in the front, on the transfer case, on the transmission, and also on the fuel cell. So you're really, really set up to just go out there and just bomb it through the desert, baby. Now, when it comes to competition, well, there isn't really too much. I mean, I suppose you could look at a Toyota Tacoma, but it's really down on the power numbers compared to this, and it just won't bomb through the desert like this one does. Of course, a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, that's going to be as capable in this rough stuff, but again, solid front and rear axle, it just doesn't have that fast, high-speed desert capability. Both Ram and Nissan have put out some concepts that could give the Raptor a run for its money, but again, they're just concepts, so who knows if those are ever going to go into production. It's possible maybe the new Colorado ZR2 with its Multimatic valve suspension, that might be able to do some good desert bombing, but you know, I haven't driven it, so it's really tough for me to say. So the thing is that the Raptor is really a pre-runner just right out of the box. I mean, you could take this down to Mexico to the 1000 and pre-run it and then just drive it home. In fact, you could even race it. Greg Fouts and his team raced it this year and they finished in 35 hours and then drove the thing home to Arizona like it wasn't no thing. And then 2 weeks later, went out and won the Best in the Desert Championship. So this thing is so super capable on both off-road and on the street. Go get your groceries, go to Home Depot, and look badass while doing it. The 2017 Ford Raptor is available right now. The truck's gonna start at about $51,000, but this one here with all the bells and whistles, well, that comes in at $69,250 American dollars, and that's before the inevitable dealer markups. Still, it's the only truck with a Baja mode, so I say yes.